Hey everybody, welcome to Real Estate Success. I am your host, Jim Ingersoll, and we've got a phenomenal show today on something that's going to take your deal flow from point A to point B. You're going to take it to the next level because we've got a great guest coming to us from beautiful Nashville, Tennessee, where I had the pleasure of visiting a couple weeks ago, and that market is red hot. So if you're in a red hot market and you're trying to figure out, like you're ready to pull your hair out because you can't get motivated seller leads, then this is the show that could really change your life. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. I appreciate everybody who's been downloading and subscribing and sending us great messages about our podcast. We always greatly appreciate it. And we've got a show today that you're going to maybe want to go back and listen to twice because you're going to get a content-packed show. This isn't a bunch of fluff. This is real life on how you can fine-tune your websites and connect with more motivated sellers. So I want to welcome Caleb to Real Estate Success. How are you, Caleb?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for having me on.
Awesome. I want to go back to like what you did a little bit before real estate, because you've been doing real estate. You started wholesaling there in Nashville and stuff, but what did you do prior to that? Yeah,
so I actually graduated from college not too long ago, and so that's actually what I was doing before wholesaling. So pretty young, but my brother-in-law, he's been doing this for 4 or 5 years now, and I really got into it, helping him out and hanging some signs and doing some leads, running leads, doing some other things. And I was like, hey, this is pretty cool, and I've always kind of had a IT techie background, and was like, hey, I think we can do some things here and kind of merge all of them into one. So
where did you go to college and what did you take?
So I went to Middle Tennessee State University. Okay. Probably if you were a basketball fan at all, you would have seen us upset Michigan.
Yes, that's right. I disconnected it. Got it.
So that's what we're most recently known for. But I actually went and got a journalism degree. I was actually there covering it for the local newspaper whenever that happened. I was on the court, and so I was always wanting to be a journalist and doing all of that. Until, really I was like, man, the pay and the hours and, all that stuff just wasn't too appealing. And was like, hey, what can I do to, not run in the rat race like everyone else and do something else. And so got that degree. And so here,
as a journalist, you learn to tell stories, and in every business that becomes really important. I mean, that's what we do on the podcast. I'm telling your story today, right?
Right.
So I love it. And I've got a lot of ties to the Nashville area. Like I was just telling you before we hit record, I was in Brentwood 2 weeks ago and I got to go back up. That area is growing ridiculously fast. If people haven't been there and seen all the cranes and all the smash-filled traffic there, they don't know what they're missing.
Yeah, it is. It's something else. It's something else, man. It is a hot market and it is absolutely crazy here for sure.
It is for sure. And I just had Chris Salazar on. Chris is also, he's 23 now. So I've got like this millennial series going on, and I love it because it's so easy. If I could just go back in time to when I was like your age, Caleb, it'd be just a snap of the fingers and you'd be all set for the rest of your life. So I love it. So tell me a little bit about how you started tinkering with these websites and getting really good at SEO and what type of, we were talking a little bit about Trevor Mock before we jumped in, and the Carrot sites. You really like those because of the SEO capacity, right?
Absolutely. I love them so much. And this is one thing as well that I get asked this all the time. Do you work for them? Do you get a commission from them? No, I promise I don't work for them, but I absolutely love one, who they are, but also what their actual products are. They're absolutely fantastic. And so, my brother-in-law had found them towards, I think, around the beginning of them launching out. And so, he had a website, it was ranking okay. It would kind of jump between 1 and 8, it would kind of bounce and he would get some leads and things. And so I really got into it with that, and was like, okay, well, how can we get it to stay at number one and not jump? How can we go to other cities, other things? And so really got into it through Investor Carrot's training that they actually have there. It's pretty in depth. It helps you get there, and that's kind of was my first introduction there about 2 years ago. And ever since then, I've done lots of other things, lots of other trainings and other tests and testing. Hey, does this work? Does this not work? And finding out, oh, hey, doing this gets your site cut off and you can't do this. So, lots of things learned there. And so it's just been kind of learning one thing here and there and putting it all together for it to work. And so now, if you go into Google and anyone here checking this out, go ahead, pull up your computer now and search Sell My House Fast Nashville. And you'll see a couple sites pop up there in the top 3 or 4, one of them being sellmynashvillehousefast.com and the other one being FAVOR Home Solutions .com. You'll see those ones there, and we bounce back and forth between 1 and 3 or 4. That's just kind of how I call the Google Shuffle happens, and you kind of bounce up there. But we're there, and we get leads, and that's that's kind of all of it there. So.
All right, that is awesome. So I just pulled it up, and you're like right in that 3 category. So that's real. I mean, what you're talking about isn't just fluff. I mean, that's consistently at the top, and that's not paid to get there. Those aren't sponsored. Nope. I mean, that's legit organic traffic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. We actually don't do any sort of an AdWord thing because honestly, for us here out of the Nashville area, it costs about $60 to $70 a click. And I actually did the math from May, just from this, not even a month ago, May 26th through May 31st, which I believe was a Sunday through Thursday or Sunday through a Friday. And to equal the same traffic we got from organic SEO, doing it through PPC would have cost us about $17,000 that week alone.
That is amazing. 17 grand, that's a lot of money.
And that was in a 5-day period, not even in a month or in a year. And those weren't for leads. That was just for clicks, just to get people on your site. And so, and that doesn't even include all of the phone call leads that we get and things like that on top of that. And so, it just is a big difference that you see, especially in a market that costs $50 to $100 per click. That might work more in a little bit of a lesser area where you're paying $5 a click, $10 a click, whatever the case is, but still it adds up very, very quickly.
So the key is to go organic. And, we talked a little bit about Trevor and the on-current staff and all that, but they're really good at the conversion side. So there's 2, in my mind anyways, there's 2 sides to this. 1 is traffic, 2 is conversions. And I think their sites really convert really well. The hard part is the traffic. They set up that conversion pretty well, but the traffic is expensive if you pay for it, and that's where you come in. So could you give just our success listeners today a couple of quick tips if they've got a Carrot site on something they could do just to boost up a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, that's the one thing I love about Investor Carrot. They are incredible about converting leads. And that's why paying them, the $150 a month is worth it for me because for me, it's something that they convert leads and they're great. So some things for you guys to work on to really get your leads, coming in a little bit more and to really help. One of them, this is probably the biggest one of all of them, is on-page SEO. That one alone is getting your H1 tags, H2 tags, SEO, keywords, titles, metadata, all that stuff, getting it perfected. Because what on-page is simply this. You have to tell Google what you are and what you do, Otherwise, they're not going to know, right? They only know what you tell them. And so you have to tell them, hey, we buy houses in Nashville. Tell them, hey, this is what we are. And another thing with that is don't over optimize it. What I mean by that is don't every other sentence put we buy houses, whatever city. Don't over optimize. A good rule of thumb for every about 500 words or so on your site, put your keyword in your body of work 4 or 5 times and make it look natural, right? Don't just pop it in there randomly where you read the sentence and you're like, whoa, that doesn't make any sense. Make it flow, make it look natural. And another big thing as well is that people don't do is they don't change any of their content whatsoever on homepage,
stale, right?
City pages. Yeah, you have to make it yourself, make it your own thing. Hey, add a picture of you and your family there, give a little bit about who you are, things like that. That's a really big one. And a second big tip for you guys to try and shoot for is get a Google My Business listing, rank in the Google map. That's a big one because now we're seeing today, I believe over 50% of all Google searches are done from a phone.
Mobile.
Done from a phone. And so it is incredible to see. And, that's another big reason why I love Investor Carrot, because actually coming up here in July, there's going to be a new Google update that focuses on mobile responsiveness. And that's why Carrot, dude, they got that covered. They're on it. And so they're already ahead of whatever sort of an update's coming. And that's why, again, I don't get paid from them, but they're the best out there. So those are big 2 tips on-page SEO and focus on getting ranked in your map pack.
So let's go back to on-page real quick. Tell our success listeners that are so focused on doing real estate deals that they don't necessarily know what H1 meta and a keyword is. Could you explain each of those?
Yeah.
So we start with H1.
Yeah. So what an H1, H2 tag is, things like that, is just simply header. It means the size of your whatever your content is. So there's a few different options there, and H1 and H2 are the top 2 headers that Google kind of looks at first to say, all right, what is this site about? So they don't read the whole thing at first. They just read those 2 tags and say, all right, what are these?
And when you're in WordPress and you're typing stuff out on your website, you have the option for, like, I think it's paragraph and then different size. Is that what you mean by H1, or do you have to actually code that in?
Yeah, so you do have to code it in, but on WordPress it's super easy. Actually, at the very top where you can pick your font size and your color and to make it left or right center. There's actually a drop down there to make that text as a H1, H2, H3 through 6, and then as a paragraph text. So you can do it there. And you don't want to overdo this. So my best advice would be 2 H1s per page, and between 3 and 5 H2s per page. And with those, you probably want to have about 1,000 words worth of your content there to make it look natural. And that's a big thing with all is making it look natural and making it go down.
So I think that's great. I mean, that's really detailed. And I don't know if everybody followed that, but he said 2 H1s and I think he said 2 or 3 H2s. And then surround that with about 1,000 natural words. You make it sound so easy, but it's not that easy. But those are great.
Yeah, no, but.
So what are meta tags? And then we'll just end with the keywords real quick. What do you, how would you describe what a meta tag is?
So basically it's what the description of your website is that people see when they search you. And so with Investor Carrot, at the bottom, it's called Carrot SEO, I believe. And if you're just running a basic WordPress site or anything else, there's a plugin called Yoast, YOAST SEO. And simply what that is that it can set what your title, what your keyword, and what the metadata, what the description is on your site whenever somebody searches, sell my house fast, insert whatever city, and you show up, what do you want people to see on your site? Do you want them to see a phone number? They can get cash fast in 7 days, that type of thing. And you can use that to really differentiate yourself from your competition, to make people say, oh, this site, let me click on that one and see what they're about. And so it just helps get people to your site there.
Gotcha. And then the final thing is a keyword. I mean, everyone knows that keywords sound simple, but what are some keys to getting a good keyword?
Yeah, so a great thing to do is to go onto Google AdWords. They actually have a keyword planner. And so what you can do is type in whatever you want to. I do this, is I set the parameters for my target area, and then all I type in is sell my house fast and hit send, and it compiles a massive list of how many searches per month do we buy houses get, sell my house fast, cash for houses, all these different words that people search. And that's a great way for you to know what your local area, hey, what are actual motivated sellers searching to find their answers? And so basically all that a keyword is what somebody types in to Google to find their answer. Where's the best pizza place? Where's the best, whatever. That's all that is. And it's super, super easy. And that's a great way to figure out, hey, what are people actually searching in my city?
Are you doing this for realtors as well now?
I am, yeah. So I do this for,
because they're expanding, I think, as well.
Yeah, and that's actually one I was talking to a broker in Arkansas, that they're wanting to get all of their sites ranked for just about every keyword there, and they're starting to kind of see, oh, hey, these investors are doing this. What are we missing here? And they're beginning to look at it and say, oh, hey, maybe we need to look into this. And this is one thing as well that personally I believe SEO has the best return on investment of any marketing form for, I would argue, any industry out there. It would compete with some, a lot of higher ups, but this is one of the best things, because if you think about it, what if you just close one deal a month from this? What does that net you? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 bucks?
I mean, you're wholesaling.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so, that kind of changes per area and things, but I mean, we've seen the biggest spreads ever from SEO deals. And this is why. This is the biggest difference, the biggest change between SEO and any other form of marketing out there is a motivated seller is contacting you. They've got the motivation already. Whenever you give that, when you send a mailer, cold calls, all that, you're trying to create motivation or hope that they have it already. But with this, they already have motivation enough to search you out and say, hey, I need to sell this house. Will you buy it from me? I need to sell it. And all you've got to do is figure out, hey, you're at 100,000. I need you to be at 80,000, and you have to figure that part out. And that's it. It makes your job so much easier. And makes all of the numbers that much better.
Excellent. So the last thing is, if somebody wanted to take your tip and rank on the Google map, how do you get that process started?
Yeah, so if you simply go on to Google and just type in Google My Business, the first link that'll show up will be a way for you to submit your company name, address, and your phone number, and lots of other things as well. But what they're going to do is they're going to mail you a postcard and verifying that address. Now, it has to be a physical address. They say it can't be a post office box, things like that. I can get around it. I know how to, but it's better just to use a physical address, much easier. And once you get that thing verified, optimizing that, and then going into local citations, getting your company name, address, and your number out there, and that's going to help push that map ranking up there and get you more and more leads.
Excellent. And your primary SEO website is steelmarketing.org, right?
Yes, it sure is.
And tell us a little bit about, how this works. If somebody in Tampa or San Jose or wherever they're at today listening in, they want to get some help on their particular We Buy Houses website, how does the process work with you?
Yeah, so the awesome thing is that I work with one investor per city, and that's it. So I am your exclusive SEO guy, and that's it. And so it makes it nice and easy. So really what the process is it really looks like this. We figure out what cities you want to shoot for, what you want to get ranked in, what the pricing is. It really depends on your city population and the niche competition. So the bigger the city, the more competition, the more it takes to get you ranked.
Work, yeah.
Right, yeah. And so really once we figure that out, there's no contracts. This is a month-to-month thing, so you can cancel it whenever you want. And this is a push button, easy button thing where you say, get me ranked, and I say, okay, and it happens. And so, and that's what it is. And I've actually got a 90-day money-back guarantee that if I can't increase your guys' ranks, then you get your money back. And so, I've got all of the results to show, but I want to make this as easy as possible, where you guys literally have to contact me. We figure out what the numbers are. I send you to my site to fill out a quick thing. It takes you 5 minutes to fill out all of your information. And that's pretty much it. You guys just sit back and get all of those leads. It's pretty simple. So
excellent. So again, it's steelmarketing.org. Did I get that right?
Yep, it sure is.
All right, good. And that is that. I really love it. I think the wider you can cast the net to find deals, the better off everybody is. And is there a bigger pool of fish than the internet? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I really don't.
I mean, that's a big pool you're going out there. Are you doing anything with social media? I mean, I know you're all over social media. Believe me, I see your Facebook Lives and stuff. So everybody should connect with you in social media as well, because you're doing a lot of content there. Yeah.
So, we honestly, primarily, we do SEO, and that's honestly about it. Whether that's good or bad, I should be doing more probably. But honestly, we have so many leads coming in from SEO that it's just me and my brother-in-law doing this. And, we haven't hired on anyone else or anything. And so if we wanted to expand, we'd probably have to hire on somebody else. And so we just do SEO. And yes, we do the occasional Facebook ad and things like that, but honestly, primarily is an SEO thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So your leads come to your inbox, and that's a nice place to pick them up, isn't it?
I get a text and an email every single time, and got it set to a certain ringtone, so I know, hey, Elite, it came in, so we know it. So.
All right. Well, you've given a lot of tips on-page SEO, specifically H1, H2 tags. We talked about meta. We talked about keywords, ranking in the Google Maps. And here's the thing to all of our success listeners. Really, you got to decide, do you really want to learn all of this stuff, or do you want to spend your time doing real estate deals? Because doing real estate deals pays really well.
Yeah, it does. And
so if you can outsource this with somebody like Caleb, you're going to be further ahead, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. And this is one thing too, that our friend Lori had mentioned this. And I thought this was beautiful. I want to own a business. I don't want to be self-employed. And that kind of, I was like, oh, wow, that's really deep. That's a big thought. That is, wow. All right. I want to own business. I don't want to be self-employed. And that's exactly, I do the same thing. If I'm not good at something, you better believe that I hire that out, because I don't want to take my time away from running a company to be taken away by learning something new or whatever. So,
and I love to learn, and I know on the surface a lot about this stuff, but it changes really fast. And sometimes I catch myself in a rabbit hole that just consumes ridiculous amounts of time. So I've seen the both sides of it. All right, Caleb, I want to thank you for being my guest today. This was a great show. Much. I think our listeners got a lot of detail, which I really appreciate on these H1, H2, specifically on a Carrot site. I think Trevor's going to enjoy this podcast as well. And how to get ranked on the Google map is a great way to start too. Everyone can check out Caleb's site at steelmarketing.org. Appreciate everybody who leaves us reviews and really shares this content. It can reach a lot of people. These podcasts have an extensive reach, Caleb. I mean, because stuff catches fire in social media like that. It's crazy.
Yep.
So I want to thank you for being my guest today. And
thank you for having me. I've loved it.
All right. Awesome. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day. Get out there, get your deals moving, and find some motivated sellers with SEO. Thanks, everybody.